Hey everyone, and welcome to Book Lovers Unite. Today, we are tackling an absolute giant in the world of personal development. I'm talking, of course, about Stephen R. Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. You've probably heard of it, right? But there's a really good reason this book isn't just popular. It's become a cornerstone for so many people.
And when I say giant, I mean, just look at this number. Over 40 million copies sold. That's not just a bestseller. That's a global phenomenon. We're talking presidents, CEOs, and literally millions of regular people like you and me who are looking for a better, more effective way to live and work. It's huge.
So, what's the secret sauce? Why does this book stick around when so many others just fade away? Well, it's because Covey isn't selling you a bunch of life hacks or quick fixes. No. He's talking about something much deeper. He's talking about a fundamental shift, basically rewriting your entire personal operating system from the ground up. It's all about changing who you are on the inside, not just ticking off a to-do list.
Okay, so let's dig into that core idea, because honestly, if you get this one concept, you've pretty much unlocked the key to the whole book.
Covey has this great term for it, a paradigm shift, and he uses a brilliant analogy. Imagine you're in Chicago, trying to find your way around, but the map you're using, it's a map of Detroit. You could have the best attitude in the world, you could drive faster, you could try harder, but you're still going to be completely lost. Right? Because the problem isn't your effort. The problem is you've got the wrong map. And that's what the 7 Habits is all about. It's about giving you the right map for your life.
And that right map is based on what he calls the character ethic. This is the deep stuff, who you are at your core. Things like integrity, humility, courage. Covey noticed that a lot of modern self-help had kind of shifted away from that, focusing instead on what he called the personality ethic. You know, it's all about your public image, communication techniques, how to make people like you. And his point was, that's all just a band-aid, a quick fix. The 7 habits are a return to the stuff that actually lasts.
All right, so the whole journey starts with what Covey calls the private victory. This covers the first 3 habits, and they're all about you. It's about mastering yourself. And the logic is super simple, right? You can't effectively work with other people until you've got your own house in order. This is where you go from being dependent on others to truly independent.
And it all kicks off with Habit 1, be proactive. This one is the absolute foundation. You know how most people are reactive? Their mood just depends on what's happening around them. Bad traffic, grumpy boss, rainy day. They're like the weather. Covey says proactive people, well, they carry their own weather. They get that between something happening to them and how they respond, there's a little gap, a space. And in that space lies their freedom and power to choose. Next up, Habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. This is so powerful. It's basically about making sure you're living your life on purpose, by your own design, and not just drifting along by default. Covey has this classic image. You don't want to spend your whole life frantically climbing the ladder of success only to get to the top and realize, oh no, it was leaning against the wrong wall the whole time. And to really bring this home, he gives this kind of intense but incredibly powerful thought exercise. He asks you to picture your own funeral. Seriously. And then ask yourself, what do you want people to be saying about you? About how you lived, who you were? Whatever that answer is, that's your end in mind. That's the compass for your entire life.
Okay, so once you know where you're going, that's Habit 2, then comes Habit 3, put first things first. This is the execution. It's where the rubber meets the road. It's all about having the discipline to act on your priorities every single day, and realizing that the key is saying no to the merely urgent, so you have time to say yes to what's truly important.
And this is where his famous time management matrix comes in. Look at this. Most of us, if we're honest, get stuck bouncing between Quadrant 1, crises and deadlines, and Quadrant 3, interruptions and other people's priorities. We live in a state of urgent. But Covey says the really effective people, they live in Quadrant 2. They spend their time on things that are important but not urgent. Think planning, exercise, building relationships. Why? Because when you live in Quadrant 2, you prevent the crises of Quadrant 1 from ever even happening.
So once you've achieved that private victory, you're proactive, you know your destination, and you're disciplined, now you're ready for the public victory. This is where we move from I to we, from independence to interdependence. It's that beautiful realization that, hey, we can actually accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. This starts with Habit 4, think win-win. And this one requires a total rewiring of how most of us think. See, we're often raised with a scarcity mentality. It's like life is one big pie, and if you get a bigger slice, that means my slice has to be smaller.
For me to win, you have to lose. But win-win comes from an abundance mentality. It's the belief that the pie is not fixed. We can work together to bake a bigger pie. There's plenty of success to go around for everybody.
Just read this quote for a second. Most people do not listen with the intent to understand, they listen with the intent to reply. Oof, how true is that? So often in conversations, we're not really listening, are we? We're just reloading, waiting for our turn to talk. Well, that is the exact problem that Habit 5 is designed to fix.
And a habit is seek first to understand, then to be understood. It's a simple sequence, but it changes everything. The key is what Covey calls empathetic listening. This isn't just hearing words. It's about getting inside the other person's frame of reference so deeply that you could actually make their argument for them. And here's the magic. Only when someone feels truly, deeply heard and understood will they ever be open to hearing your side of things.
And when you do that, well, that leads directly to Habit 6, Synergize. And look, this isn't about compromise. Compromise is where 1 + 1 equals maybe 1.5. Both people lose something. Synergy is where 1 + 1 equals 3 or 10 or 100. It's that creative magic that happens when you value the differences between people and you work together to create something new, a solution that's way better than what either of you could have come up with on your own.
Okay, and finally, we get to the habit that holds all the others together, the one that makes the whole system sustainable. It's called Sharpen the Saw, and it's all about renewal.
So, Habit 7 is simple. You are your most important asset. You have to invest in yourself. Covey tells this perfect little story about a guy who's been sawing down a tree for hours and he's just exhausted, not making much progress. Someone comes along and says, "Hey, why don't you take a break and sharpen your saw?" And the guy replies, "I can't. I'm too busy sawing." We laugh, but how often are we that person? We have to take the time to sharpen our own saw. And sharpening the saw isn't just about one thing. It requires balance across 4 key areas of your life. Physical, sleep, exercise, nutrition. Mental, reading, learning new things. Spiritual, which could be meditation or time in nature, whatever connects you to your values. And social/emotional, nurturing your key relationships. The thing is, if you neglect any one of these, it's going to drag all the others down eventually.
So when you step back and look at all 7 habits together, you see the big picture. It's what Covey calls the inside-out approach. It's so simple but so profound. If you want to change your relationships, your results, your life, you have to start with yourself first. The private victory has to come before the public victory, every single time.
Okay, so now let's turn this back to you. As you've been listening to this, which one of these 7 habits kinda hit you the hardest? Which one made you think, ooh, yeah, that's me? For you, is it getting stuck in that urgency trap from habit 3? Or maybe, if you're really honest with yourself, is it the empathetic listening part of habit 5? What's the one area you know you could really focus on?
Seriously, I would love to know. Head down to the comments and let us know which habit resonates with you the most. There's no judgment here. Sharing this stuff is actually a great way for all of us in this community to learn from each other.
And hey, if you feel like this breakdown helped you sharpen your saw even just a little bit today, do me a favor and hit that like button. And of course, be proactive and subscribe to Book Lovers Unite so you don't miss our next deep dive. Thanks so much for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one.